Alright, so I wanted to get on here and do a little like review of some of my favorite things that I shot this year and just kind of briefly talk about them and show some of the stuff that I shot before I started doing these and yeah, throw them out there and see what anybody that happens to see this thinks. The majority of this is actually film of photography because I kind of did a lot of that this year. I didn't shoot as much this year as I would have as I normally do. I think, and it's not including the stuff that it's already appeared in the reviews that I've talked about. I'm going to stick mostly to film, and then I might do another one a little bit later on just everything. But this is the stuff that I haven't had the chance to show because I wasn't doing these yet. So I wanted to start out, and the only one on here that's not going to be film is going to be this one here. I really liked it. I just thought the lighting was really pretty, and I don't really know exactly what I was going for, but I was kind of playing around with different ideas and ended up with this, and for some reason, when I got it, I was like, I really like this, and I like how high key it is, and I like the how the egg isn't cracked at all. And the nails kind of just went straight into it. I think the focus is nice and sharp, and I don't know, I just find it very interesting. I really quite like it, and this is one of the only like kind of more studio shots that I did this year that I ended up being really fond of. I did a lot of more street style, or what I call like guerrilla photography. But yeah, this is the one non-film photo that I have for the year that I quite liked. Next up is going to be, this is all, I believe, shot on my Mamiya 645 medium format camera. This was one of the early shots I did. I did a similar one on my digital camera, but I knew that I wanted it in film, and that's originally what I had tried, because I think this is the second time that I've shot this shot on film, and third time total. It's always the same thing, but it was like the first time I did it, if I remember correctly on my Mamiya, I didn't even have a viewfinder yet. I just went out there, just the focusing screen, and was like, damn, this is really, really hard to use. And then when I finally did get a viewfinder, first thing I did was go straight to this to get the shot that I wanted. But it was also just like a light clicked on, I was like, oh, this is why it was so difficult to use, and why I had so much light bleed on some of the photos that I shot, and everything was like, yeah, it makes sense now. But yeah, this one here, I just love the texture in the statue, and then the contrast between the stone and the water. I love how dark the water came out, and then the nice mid-gray in the corner that doesn't take away from your eye. Like, you follow right around the ring, you go right into the dark pit, and then you have the fifth statue right in the middle, or more on the third. But I really, really like this shot, and I'm happy that I finally got it after so many attempts. So I'm probably gonna go through a couple of these kind of quickly, because these three I believe were done on the same day. And it's a style of photography that I really like doing, where you just kind of go out and with no extra equipment, you basically just have a camera. If you want to use a reflector or something like that, go for it. But it's just, I like trying to find a shot in what's already there. So none of this is really manipulated at all or anything, and it's just me going out and seeing what I can find and trying to create a shot out of what exists. And this one I really, really liked. Again, it's kind of a contrast thing. I think, if I remember correctly, I didn't have much experience shooting film. At this time, I think I'd shot in 2 rolls before, and I was like, basically when I went into it, I was like, okay, I really want to practice shooting for black and white film, because I've never shot black and white before. Whenever I've done black and white, it's always been digital in color, converted to black and white. And so I was like going out and like really looking for contrast and looking for, obviously this one was a little bit easier because it was a white shed with dark colors on it, so you get that contrast. But yeah, this is another one where it's like I don't really have an explanation for why I like it. but I do just like the shot, and I have come back to it multiple times, and I liked it since I've shot it, and I've liked it since, so there's something about it that just I really like. This was another one when I was practicing this black and white and looking for shadow, looking for light, looking for contrast. And it was, I don't remember what time it was probably late afternoon. So it was getting like directional sunlight and everything. And I saw the way that it had come in on the tree and the shadow side behind it. So I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. And it's definitely not my favorite shot, but it is one that I still do really like, even though overall it might be a little boring, it might be not for everybody, it might, but I don't think that matters. I personally really like it, and I like the hardline shadows, and I like that there's still texture in the tree, and there's still texture down in the bricks and all around, and there's, you know, not the widest, but a pretty deep depth of field. And yeah, I just really like the lighting in it. Now, moving out of those shots, I did do a brief trip to France this year, Paris and Belgium, and of course, do what everyone does when they go to Paris for the first time. Went to the Eiffel Tower, and when I was there, I saw all of the stairs and people going up and down, and because if you've been there, it's like you kind of have the area. I think it's on the street underneath the. You have the four legs, and then they're kind of dead in the center, and then that's where you can kind of go up the stairs. And when I was standing there, I was like, I really like all of this, and I had I believe it was a 70mm lens on my Mamiya, and I really liked how much, like the how do you call it, the not the architecture, but the beams and the trusses and the just how much almost visual clutter there was when zoomed in. And when I was looking, I was like, I would love if I could get a shot of somebody walking down these stairs. And so I waited. I probably took, I think if I remember correctly, I took 2 or 3. But I was just like waiting until I was sitting there, the camera pointed in the one spot, just waiting for somebody to come down and hit this point. And when they finally did, I was like, I really hope I got what I wanted. And when I got it developed and I scanned it, I was so happy with the result. And like all of the lines lead straight into the person. Well, not exactly. There's obviously tons of lines, tons of leading lines, but some of the biggest ones and the most important ones just lead straight into the person, and then there's no like distractingness in the sky. It's like the sky just contrasts really nicely against all the dark beams. And yeah, I was so happy when I got the film back on this one, and I loved this shot. This was in Belgium. I think I messed up the focus a little bit, or I was on maybe a slow shutter speed or something, but I still don't mind the shot for whatever reason. But it was just one of because if anybody again that's been to Belgium or Brussels, there is so many churches. Like every street there's these gigantic, gorgeous churches that are like with all this intricate stonework and everything, and it is just beautiful. And they had this one with all of these statues. I'm gonna guess of religious figures or saints, or honestly it could be anything. I don't know too much about it, but I saw this and I was like, this is really, really interesting. And so I set it up, shot it, and again, the way the light was coming in, it's just kind of kissing the wall, you having these nice streaks, and just really liked it, and was very happy with like what I had gotten. Here is more Paris, I believe. Yes, these next couple are. I was actually very happy with the roles that I was able to shoot in Paris. There was just a lot of good. I think it's like one of those things where when you're in a city that has a lot of beautiful architecture, you know, there's Paris syndrome and all that, and there's some people that really don't like it. It is quite dirty. It's a city, but the one thing I will never ever deny, and I don't think anybody really can, is that there's lots of beautiful statues. There's tons of beautiful architecture, some beautiful like gardens or parks, or I don't know exactly what they're called, but around these gorgeous buildings. And there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in this city. So when you're at a place like this, it's like this. I think would be very boring. And it's probably not my favorite thing that I've shot, but I did really really like it. But this, I think, in my opinion, would have been really boring had it not had the people down on the bottom of the frame all looking at the statue in the fountain, or just enjoying their day. It's probably what they were doing, but who knows. But this shot here, I really like. Just in the very bottom of the frame is all of these people looking into the fountain, into the statue, and then everything around it. It's like, it might be a little bit, I mean, I don't need to sit and critique this, and I absolutely could find all sorts of problems with it and things that I don't like and things that I improve on, but I don't really feel like doing that right now. I think I can just sit and enjoy the stuff that I do like, even if there's plenty of critique that you could do with it, or have with it. I think I can just enjoy it for right now, and then critique it when I'm trying to get better. And I've already critiqued it as well, just for my own personal improvement. This was probably my favorite shot, potentially my favorite shot of the year, of the entire year, but undoubtedly it was my favorite shot that I did in Paris. Just, there's something where like the perspective of it, I genuinely, I don't know how to explain what it is I like about it. I do think the lighting is great, and like the way that these, I'm gonna guess that was the sun, if I remember correctly, coming in on the top of the building, and the shadow halfway down, and then like the way that's kissing the lights, the windows, so that there's not really a reflection. There's a reflection in the third one, but that might actually just be the curtain. But I genuinely don't think I can explain why I love this shot so much, but I do. And I think as part of it has to do with like the perspective of it, where there's not really a hard, like you can absolutely tell where the building on the right ends and the building on the left starts. Like you can see the line down the center, but there's just something almost strange in the perspective where it's almost hard to tell which one's in front. Like, I mean, it's kind of obvious which one's in front, but it's, when you look at it more, in my opinion, it's kind of hard to tell. And like, it's just one of those ones where I can't explain why I like it, but I just love this photo. And I think I printed it twice to give to friends, and I am just in love with this photo, and I love what I got out of it. It was complete happenstance. I don't even remember where I shot it or what I was thinking when I shot it. It was just one of those ones where you come back, you look at the roll, and it's just like, where did I get this from? But I'm so happy that whatever I did ended up with this photo, because I am in love with this photo. This was another attempt at me kind of doing cityscapes, or seeing, like actually shooting, because normally when I shoot this style, I don't include many people. I always feel a little weird taking photos of people, like even if like I tend to wait till the street's empty and whatnot, but I was just trying to shoot just the city, and not really necessarily anybody specifically, but just shoot this the street and what is alive on the street. And what I liked about this one, I don't know what kind of interaction it was. Again, I don't remember it too well right now, but the down the street where there's the two people having like this interaction, and the cafe on the side where it's all of these people on the right side, it like, it's an image that to me feels a little bit alive, and I don't think it's like the most image like this that I've ever seen. Absolutely not. But it is one of those ones where when I look at it, I feel like I can almost look at it. This is gonna sound weird, but I can almost look at it like a GIF, where it's a still single shot image, but I feel like I can almost step into it and see how life progressed from here, and it's just a moment in time. There's nothing special. There's nothing specific. There's nothing special. It's just this what was existing in this moment. And I don't know, I really like that, and I want to do more of that, even though I haven't done as much of that as I'd like. I want to do more, where it's just this moment in time that you almost feel like you could kind of step into and see. It's just like a very mundane moment, and that you see every day, and you feel like you can just step into it and see the rest of the scene play out. Next here, a classic image. Of course, when you go to Paris, you're gonna take plenty of photos of the Eiffel Tower. I think this was across the river that's near it. But I was just happened to be walking at like the perfect time, and I happened to look over and see the reflection coming off the bottom but not really affecting the top. So I was like, okay, I have to get this. I think this is going to be a fantastic photo of the Eiffel Tower. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody's done this before, but it was my first time doing it, and I love it. So I made sure to line up properly, make sure that the white was coming right off that bottom. And I got super lucky with the cloud, because without that cloud, I would hate this photo. There'd just be so much of it that just has no texture. It's just this boring flat gray. I would absolutely hate this photo if this cloud was not right there, or there wasn't. Yeah. So having that cloud with that perfect lighting on it, which some of that was luck and just me seeing, some of it was luck and just the weather of the day. But I was so happy when this one came out. And because I believe I only shot this one once, maybe I used 2 frames on it, but when I got it back, I felt like this was going to be a good photo. You know, when you shoot digital, it's like you can tell if it's a good photo right away because you get the feedback. But on film, it's more like you have trust in yourself and you think like, yes, this is most likely going to be something good, or this is probably not going to work. But this was one of those ones where it's like I felt like this was going to be something good. Unlike some of the other ones where it's like, I had no clue, and they just ended up being something that I liked, but I felt like this was going to be good. And I was really happy with it, and it was like, I guess the moment of, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but like, I guess a confidence boost where it's like, I saw something that I thought and knew would be good, and I did it, and it was. So it felt like a culmination of knowledge, a culmination of experience. It was like, okay. As basic as it may be, I could see it before I even pulled out my camera. Next here is fairly similar to the one two ago with the interaction down the street. I like this one more. I think what I like about this one is that without a couple of the cars, it almost, to me, feels like a photo from quite a while ago, and it's something that they're just to capture, in my opinion. I'm probably gonna sound so pretentious and whatever throughout this, but there's just something about it that's just like, again, I feel like I can step right into it and watch this scene play out, and it's just quite, I don't know, almost natural, or a moment. Again, that sounds so pretentious, but what I liked here was just like, I think if I remember correctly, I either just really liked the street, or I saw the lady down in the bottom left standing in front of it, and I was like, I think this could work just with the street and the lady on her phone and everything. And then what I didn't notice at the time, which I'm actually so happy that I got, was in the bottom right next to the edge, what looks like 3 people on a bike from far away, but obviously it's probably 2 people on one bike and 1 person on the other bike. But there's this almost weird thing where when I see it, the first couple times I was like, is that 3 people on a bike? But I also didn't see it. That probably first 2 or 3 times that I looked at it, I didn't actually see them. But like now it's like, okay, if I go in there, I can see it's not 3 people on a bike, but it kind of looks like it when you just a brief look. But yeah, this is another one where it's just more of something that I want to do more and actually get people in the city, and just because I feel like it's a stronger capture of what the city's like, even though I do love, I want to add this into the stuff that I already shoot. And then this, I think, will be the last one for this video. I think I'm gonna split it up just because I don't want to make it too long. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I have 24 images here, so I'm doing 12 and 12. I think should work out. So this will be the last one. It's again the same thing that I was talking about. Not, the best version of it, but actually when I was looking at it, I really don't mind the out of focus front person. And yeah, this was another one where it's just like that same kind of thing, just like, it's just the city. There's not really I'm gonna have to really sit down and think about what it is here that I like shooting and what it is that to really verbalize my thoughts. But there's just it's almost like continuation of the other stuff that I like shooting, what I call more guerrilla, where it's like going out, finding something, and just taking this thing that most people probably just walk straight by, most people aren't really going to look at it or think twice about, and capturing that, putting it to photo, and just, I guess, how do you say, like, taking a second look at these things that you'll see hundreds of times a day. Like this shot, for people that have lived in this area, they've probably seen this street walk down this way dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times, hundreds of times even. And this isn't necessarily my favorite one on here. I do like it. I do think it fits. I think I like it in context with the other ones that I like more. Like this would not be the one that I show on its own and be like, oh, I shot this thing. But with the others, I do quite like it. And yeah, I don't know. It's just taking that second look at something that you've seen 100 times, or something you've walked past 100 times and never actually saw. But that's what I have for this first one. I don't know exactly when the next one would go, but it'll be another 12 or so images that I think were my best ones that I shot this year. And if I'm not mistaken, the rest of them are film, but I go into using a different camera as well. Yes, everything is still film, but I go into using color film on a 35mm as well, and that camera is very, very interesting because it is very old. I'll grab it right now. This camera here, if I'm not mistaken, is from like the 70s or so. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, it's from like the 70s, because, and how I can tell is that down here on the bottom, it still says made in West Germany. So it's definitely not from any time recently, but I think it being so old and it being from, I believe, Argentina, or not I believe, it being from Argentina and being so old, I think that there might be a little bit of damage in the lens, or I'm doing something wrong with it, or haven't learned how to shoot it yet. And it has this really, really interesting, almost distortion effect that I love. And there's some stuff that I've shot with it that's something that I would never be able to shoot with something else. It's like very, how do you say, specific to this camera. Maybe other cameras of it, or maybe other cameras of the age, or other cameras like it. but this is the only one that I've personally shot, and I find it very fascinating, and I'm very excited to put them out and see if anybody happens to see them. Yeah, that's all I have for right now. So until the next one comes up, see ya.